Well, tonight here I'm working in the shop, working on this 930. It was kind of put on hold for a little while. I had a few issues with it that I had to get figured out. First of all, if you go back to my excuse me, my last video I did on the 930, we got the whole injection system all redone on it. And if you look near the end of that video, you could hear the engine popping. And I couldn't for the life of me figure it out. Lucky for me, I had to replace the exhaust manifold. So I just took the manifold off just to make sure it was firing. And sure enough, number one cylinder wasn't firing. Just wondering where this oil came from. Oh, I had the valve covers on there. Number one cylinder wasn't firing. And I thought, oh great. So took the valve cover off, adjusted the valves. It didn't seem to help it. So I had to go a little further. I pulled the head off. This engine must have had water in it at one time, whether through the exhaust pipe or bad head gasket. And here it had pitted the seat of the valve, the exhaust valve. So I went to the wreckers and tried and find a head for it, and of course these old tractors are getting kind of obsolete. So I took it to a machine shop and they actually ground the valve down just enough that it would still work. And then all I had to do was put a shim washer on the spring side of the valve. So I've got it working good now. Another issue, and it was kind of my own fault, I was stripping this tractor down for, now it makes it easier to paint. I had everything working on it before I tore it apart. I took the drawbar off, then my 3-point hitch wouldn't go up and down. And I couldn't for the life of me figure that out. And here, I don't know if you can see it or not. It's your draft sense lever here. And when I pulled this hitch off, this comes off with it. And this thing must have turned. So the 3-point hitch went down, but it wouldn't come back up. So that's got that figured out, so I got that working again. Then another issue I had, put the new PTO in it from 1000 to 540, and this wouldn't stop turning on me. So on these tractors, if you pull this plate out here, inside there's a little brake, little cam that shuts a brake off when you take it out of gear. And I adjusted it as far as it would go. It still turns a little wee bit, but you can stop it with your hand. So that's all I can do without pulling it back out and putting a new brake shoe in there. It's actually pretty easy to adjust your PTO clutch too. It's just a little pin you pull out, give it a little turn, and drop the pin back in. Pretty slick. So now that I've got that figured out, I've also got this wheel seal changed. This wheel seal was leaking. We got that changed. Still got to tear the seat deck off because seat's a little wore, maybe. I don't know. You guys be the judge. So now I've got her running pretty good. I'll see if she'll still start. Still smokes a bit when you start it up. It runs pretty smooth now. Now I noticed I got a coolant leak. My water pump's leaking there. This water pump's got a grease fit on it right there. I don't know if I put some grease in it, if that'll stop that or not. Still a bugger to start though. I had to go buy a new can of ether. You just give it a little wee squirt. She'll take off. Now the block heater's not working on it. I just have my little propane heater there, kind of heat the block up a bit. It seems to help. This is just old oil from I had that valve cover off when I was running, just to make sure my valves were set right. So now I gotta change the fuel or the water pump. Excuse me. And I gotta put in, either make a new pin or get a new pin for that. The tie rod on that end's been welded. This steering arm, as you can see, is not straight. That's got to be replaced yet. And a few little things. The step's bent here. It's got to be straightened. Your battery box here, its hinges are rusted off. This whole seat deck's going to come off. I'm going to put new checker plate floor on it. Just for luck sides. More of a safety thing, really. And yeah. So that's the 930 here. It's coming. One of the reasons why I haven't been making videos, as you can see, we're doing some renovating here. I've kind of been working around harvest. Harvest isn't done yet either. So we're working around that and working around renovations and 101 other things. This 550's in here, it's got some fuel issues. It's not getting enough fuel. And this 30 is the one that I brought home with the engine was seized. So there's the old engine. There's the sleeve and pistons out of it. This is the engine I bought last spring. Finally got it in there. Pulled the valve cover off. It looked pretty good, other than there was just a bit of rust right here. And these two valves were stuck open. So I just kept tapping them and working some penetrating oil in it. So I got them working good now. And I've had it fire, and I just gave it a little squirt of ether just to see if it would fire. Dad's rebuilt carburetor off one of the other 30s. I'm going to put it on, and he took the old one over for him to clean up. At the starter, I had to rebuild it. Look, I'm so glad we have lots of parts around here. Changed the contact in here. There's just a push button contact in there. They don't have a solenoid on them, so I had to make one out of two. And of course, this lever here is just like that other 30. Wore out. This one's got a PTO on it. This was the first tractors to have live PTO. So that's why I kind of want to keep this one. Our other one doesn't have PTO on it. So this thing needs paint, new rims, and you know the story. Probably the tank's got half an inch of rust in it. So that's kind of what I've been working on here right now. A few other little jobs in between. So yeah, so that's what's been going on. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's WilliamChambers2176. You can see what I'm doing there. I actually update my Instagram more than anything, so you want to check it out there, and please rate and subscribe. Thanks for watching.